everybody. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Mike DeLisio.
And today we're taking a look at Faust versus Mephisto, based on an old tale.
Yeah.
This is from Mandu Games. It's a two-player trick-taking game, and I believe is the second in a series.
It's hard to tell. Do you think which part do you think it's part of?
Well, I know they made other two-player trick-taking games.
Yeah. So this designer, I think Kunnel is what I'm getting is the pronunciation of it. Has done a number of two-player trick-taking games. Jekyll versus Hyde, then also that Jekyll and Hyde versus Van Helsing, and then the Yellow House. There's been a bunch of games, two-player games that this designer has done.
Yeah, it's kind of an odd two-player trick-taking game that rather than tell you more, I'll just let Mike show you how to play the game.
Okay, here you see the components for Faust versus Mephisto. You've got a deck of 22 cards. You've got a central playing board, which is going to have a suit hierarchy. You're going to have 4 tokens that represent the 4 suits in the game. And these are double-sided, one side showing the Faust uncorrupted side, the other side showing the corrupted Mephisto side. And what you're going to do is, in the first round, there's a maximum of 2 rounds in this game. The Mephisto player is going to shuffle the deck of 22 cards, deal out 10 to each player, and the remaining 2 cards will be put to the side, out of play, out of sight, face down. Okay, so after setup is complete, Mephisto will be the starting player in round 1. If there is a second round, then Faust would be the leading player in that round. It could potentially end after the end of the first round. It's an asymmetric game, trick-taking, where each player, the Mephisto player and the Faust player, have differing goals that they are trying to accomplish. What Mephisto is trying to do is corrupt at least 2 of these 4 suits, and they do that by either winning all of the cards in a particular suit during a round, or losing all of the cards of a particular suit during a round. The Faust player is trying to do essentially the opposite of that. They are trying to split tricks, where for each of these 4 suits, they're winning some and losing some. Right here on the board, you can see a distribution of the cards that are within each of the 4 suits. So this red love suit has card numbers 1 through 4, blue has 1 through 5, yellow 1 through 6, and green 1 through 7. Each of the 3 suits, except for green, have some kind of special condition that applies only to that suit that we'll talk about in a moment. This is what is called a must-follow trick-taking game, in that whichever suit is let into a trick must be followed by the opposing player if they have a card of that suit. If they don't have a card of that suit, they would play a different suit. All right, so let's get started here. Let's look at Mephisto's hand. Of course, you would not be doing this normally in a game. You don't play open-handed, but just for the purposes of kind of showing you how things work, I will do that here. So Mephisto has a whole bunch of green cards, and they're thinking, wow, maybe they could, win all those because potentially, the 1 and the 7 green could be there, although you never know. So they cannot lead this 3. I want to mention that right off the bat, because that is what is unique to this red love suit. This card cannot be led into a trick unless it has already been played into a previous trick. And so how would that happen? That would happen if one player has nothing but red cards left into their hand, then they could lead one. Or if they had to play off suit, they can do that as well. So they cannot play this card. They can play any other card that they wanted to. So perhaps they're going to go ahead and play their 6 of green here. Now, coming back to Faust, Faust has to follow. All right. And so they really, out of their hand, can only do one thing. They can play this 1. There are these 2 metal tokens, and I'll explain briefly how they work. On your turn, whether you're leading or following, you can discard one of these coins to have the other player play a card on your behalf. So if the Faust player wanted to, they can tell the Mephisto player to play a card for them into the trick. Now, it still has to follow the rules of must follow, so they would have to ask them to play a green card. They would say either their highest or lowest. That's how the coins work. You pick a suit and say highest or lowest of that suit that you have. And they could not tell them to play a red card on your behalf because that has to follow the same rule too. But they're not going to do that. They're going to go ahead and follow with this 1. Now, in this case, it was won by Mephisto. It gets played into their player area, kind of separated by suit. And since they won, they will lead in the next trick. The other thing that should have happened that I missed was that as soon as a suit is played into a trick, it is placed into the lowest available spot, with one exception, the yellow. The yellow is one that instead of placing it on the next one, you place it one higher. So you may be wondering, why didn't the green get placed down here? Isn't this the lowest? No, this is actually a special spot that can only be occupied by the yellow token. This is normally, right where green is, the lowest on the hierarchy. This is a suit hierarchy, essentially saying which suits are higher than the others. But the yellow one can go here if, say, for example, we had something like this. And now yellow was the last one played into a trick this round. Instead of going here, it would jump that and go here. And now yellow has the lowest value as far as suit hierarchy, okay? The blue one, what it does is that once all of the cards, let's say it would be something like this, once all of the 4 suits have been played into a trick during that round, all of these are going to get wiped except for the blue. The blue will stay where it is, and then you would continue until the end of the round playing normally, like say if green was led, it would go down here. Okay? So that's the differences between those. So here we go. First suit, first trick was won by Mephisto, and they went ahead and did that. Now, it doesn't necessarily behoove them right now. They don't know exactly what the Faust player has, but if they think there's an inkling that Faust may not have that 7, if they played any of the green cards and Faust didn't have that 7, they would play a different suit, and that suit would be ranked higher and would then win the trick. Okay? But let's say they did that. It would be a terrible play, but let's say they went ahead and did that. They played this 5, hoping that they don't have the 7. Well, they don't have the 7. So what what Faust can do would be to follow any suit except for red. Again, you can't play that unless it's already been played. And so maybe what they decide they're going to do is they're going to go ahead and play this 1 of yellow. Now, yellow, as I said, would skip that and go right in there. And because it's a higher suit hierarchy, it wins the trick. The numbers in this case are not what breaks it. It's going to be the suit hierarchy. So Faust would take these and separate those by suit. And now they know that green will not be corrupted this round because they've won at least 1 and Mephisto has won at least 1. And so that's the general idea of the game. You're going to continue to play until all 10 all 10 tricks have been played. At the end of the round, if at least 2 of these suits have been corrupted by Mephisto, then the game would end right there at the end of the first round. If not, let's say that maybe only 1 had been corrupted, then these would go by. This does not get reflipped. You would reshuffle the deck of 22 cards, 10 to each, and in the second round, Faust would be the one to lead out the first trick of that second round, and the win conditions remain the same. At the end of the second round, if Faust has corrupted at least 2 of the suits, they would win. Or excuse me, if Mephisto has corrupted at least 2 of the suits, they would win. Otherwise, it would be Faust. There you have Faust versus Mephisto. Let's head back up and we'll let you know what we think.
Now, we both play a lot of trick-taking games.
Yes.
You more than I do. But I played, for the last 20-some years, I played many different trick-taking games. And some trick-taking games are trickier than others. Yeah. And some I sit there and go, And sometimes the rules are trickier, like a very popular, the Moo and More series. I always find. I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking. But I like trick-taking games often because they make me feel smart. I play a card at the right point, and I'm like, heh, heh, heh.
Yeah.
You know where I'm not smart? In this game. This game makes me feel like a dummy the entire game.
Yeah, it's as you said, a lot of people will like playing classic trick-taking games because they're kind of fast and breezy, and you're just talking and playing cards. And some of the more modern trick-taking games especially, and Moo and More is definitely an example, are a lot thinkier, more cerebral, and you can't just play that kind of flowy thing. This one is very thinky. And it does, like you said, I think it can make you feel smart, but it can also make you feel really like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do here, Yeah,
because there's a bunch of, so there's the normal trick-taking part.
Yeah.
Who's going to win the trick? And one person's trying to make it so that everyone wins tricks of one color or not. The other person's trying to mess that over. I get that.
Sure.
That's understandable, although tricky. But then you add in the fact that the earlier a suit is played, the weaker that suit is.
Yes.
And then some of the suits have special powers, like they can't move.
Right.
So I have to add that. And then the coins. And the coins, I think without the coins, it probably wouldn't be much of a game.
I agree, yeah, because the suit hierarchy thing is not necessarily new. You've seen that kind of thing before. But like you said, the fact that there's 4 suits in the game, 3 of them have some type of, condition or ability that are attached to them, is a little hook, but it's the game is really about those 2 coins.
Right. So I'm saying I need you to play a card because I know basically what you have.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, okay, I'm going to force you to play this card, hopefully.
Yeah.
If I don't mess up, which I almost always do.
Right.
Force you to play this card for me, and then you'll play, and then I'll win or lose, which is what I'm trying to do.
Right.
But you can only do that a couple times.
Yes.
Which, by the way, great quality coins.
Oh,
great
the
quality
production.
everything here.
Yeah, great production.
But you need to know when to best do that, and that is where I feel like a dummy. Because so many times I'm like, ha-ha, the coin, it worked out my plans. And then Mike will be like, and now I'm playing a coin. I'm like, my plans have gone.
Yeah. And that really, and that's the crux of I'm going to win or lose this based on how well do I use my 2 coins.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's really what it's about. And sometimes it's not perfect information. It's a 22-card deck and 2 are out. But it's pretty close.
But the 2 that are out, that's my favorite kind of these games. I like perfect information. I don't like non-information. That's not very useful. But having 2 out gives you that just a bit of a...
Right.
I think they got the 5 green.
Yeah, the odds are in my favor, but I can never be sure.
Right.
And, the only time you can be sure is when basically every card of a suit has been played. That's really all there is. But the 2 coins, knowing when to do them, and being able to kind of reverse engineer, because you have to be thinking. It's a little bit of a mind warp, this idea of, okay, they're playing a card on my behalf, and that shouldn't be something that is as tricky as it is. But it really is. So many times I'll be thinking it the opposite way. I'm thinking I have it right, and I'm forcing them to do something, and I have it backwards, and I'm like, darn it! I've played this game 5 times. How can I not get this right? But then when you do pull it off, it feels really cool. So, one thing I do want to mention, because of all of this going on, because of all this mental gymnastics you're doing, it's a game that is asymmetrical, 2-player game where one role, as you mentioned, is trying to do a particular thing. You either want all the cards of a suit won or the other player to win all the cards of a suit.
Sure.
That's the Mephisto player. Faust wants to split all the suits. And so in these types of games, especially 2-player games, the inclination is often, okay, I'm going to play as Mephisto this game, then we'll switch it up the next game, and you play Mephisto and I'll play as Faust. In this game, that almost is not a great idea.
Sure, because you have to switch your mind halfway through.
Yes.
But I want to switch because I think one of them's easier to play than the other. I think the guy messing things up, it feels easier to make something go wrong.
It is, but
to make everything go right.
I agree, but I think it's somewhat balanced in the fact that as the Mephisto player, you only have to disrupt 2 of the 4 suits.
Sure.
Whereas the other player, you are really trying to just prevent that. So I think it is harder being the Mephisto player. I think there's no question about that.
This is a weird one for me to recommend or not because I like it. I find it to be fun. I say it makes me feel like a dummy, but I don't mind that because the other player is also saying the same thing. So I'm like, yeah, 2 dummies.
Right.
But I wouldn't recommend this to everybody.
No.
I really wouldn't. This is a very thinky 2-player game. You know, I kind of wish now before this review I didn't think about this. I should have tried this with my wife because she loves trick-taking games. But I'm betting she wouldn't like this one because she just wants to sit back and throw the cards out and know who wins and trump and all that stuff. But maybe she would like it. Maybe I'm wrong. But I wouldn't. I don't know that I would bring it home because I don't know that she would enjoy these weird mental gymnastics. You know, she likes other things instead. So I'm giving it a 7. I think it's a very cool game. There's a lot of neat ideas in it. But I think after me playing 3 or 4 times, I want to take a break from it for like a week or so. and just because of all that stuff going on. So there's a lot of cool ideas to it. Great production. It's neat. But definitely this is a think before you buy. Look at this. Is this the kind of game you think you like? Also, it's only 2 players.
Right.
But you're going to need to find 2 players who both are into this style.
It's very true. It's a niche game. There's no question about it. This is a very niche game. As a design, I'm giving it an 8. I think it's a terrific design. But you really, I double down on what Tom is saying here. You really have to kind of make sure that you're presenting this to the right player that you know likes trick-taking, first of all, because you have to know the basics, and then you have to be able to subvert those basics in your mind, which is difficult to do. But you also have to make sure that it's somebody that's not looking for a light, breezy game, because it's not that. And a lot of times when you're saying, oh, we're going to play a 2-playing game, we're going to play a 2-player trick-taking game, you know, you're thinking, oh, it's going to be a little 5-10 minute affair, which it's not long, but the entire time you're playing, your mind is engaged. There's no downtime of thinking. Every single move is think, double think, question, maybe, is it, that kind of a thing. And if you both are into that, it's a really, really cool experience. If you're not, I wouldn't recommend it for those types of players.
Well, there you go, folks. Another 2-player trick-taking game from Mandu, Faust versus Mephisto. Don't come after me. I don't know how to say your name.
I don't either.
I'm Tom Basil.
I'm Mike DeLisio.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.